Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
IT, thumbs up. Thank you, sir. Welcome, everybody, to the Liberty County Board of Commissioners regular monthly meeting. We meet twice a month, first Tuesday and the third Thursday. First Tuesday, 6 o'clock, third Thursday, 5 p.m. You're welcome to tune in, or if the agenda is of interest to you, you are a participant, then you're welcome to come to our meetings. Now, we have not done any restrictions of recent, but I just give us all notice that we're watching the rates, the COVID rates, and so we may have to make some adjustments, but right now, the meetings are open to the public, but we would ask you to come watch us on live stream if you don't have an agenda item, but if you have an agenda item, by all means, join us here at the meeting room. Thank you for your participation, cooperation in that matter. Mr. Brown, has the meeting been properly advertised?
Yes, sir, it has.
Thank you so much. I don't see anyone here from the Ministerial Alliance, so I'm going to, Ms. Mosley, if I may, one more time, sir, would you please lead us in our invocation and our pledge of allegiance? Please stand for those two items.
Let us pray. Father, we are so grateful for your bountiful blessings. We thank you for the sunshine as well as the rain. And we would ask that you would bless us with more rain. And Father God, we continue to pray for those, Father God, who are fighting for freedoms and abroad, and those who are here, Father God. We pray for divine insight and wisdom for this deliberative body as they engage in business of this community. We pray that you be with them and strengthen them. This we thank you for in the powerful and penetrating name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands,
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, before we go into our minutes, I think we need to acknowledge that we have a certified county commissioner with us today. Commissioner Maxie Jones, IV, is now fully certified, so let's appreciate his accomplishment. For his training, we tell him, baptized by fire is what we've been telling him, but he's doing a good job. Congratulations, sir, on following through with the training. Good to have you. Minutes for the month of July would require our approval.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the minutes as presented, my July 2nd meeting.
Motion second, we approve the minutes for the month of July. Let's see, you said July,
There's what?
there should be two sets.
Yes, sir, July 5th and July 21st.
All righty, thank you. Motion and a second, we approve those minutes. Any further discussion? All in favor, let me know by show of hands, please. Minutes are approved, thank you. Moving right along to our department reports, LCPC, Mr. Jeff Ricketson is here. The variance report.
Good evening, Chairman Lovett, members of the commission.
Good evening,
The first item we have tonight is a variance request that you all tabled at your last meeting. If you recall, it was a request for a variance for a setback out in the Isle of Wight area. And what they're, I'll take you to show you this is a general area here. That's Carpenter Drive, and that's Circle Drive here. And this is sort of at the intersection of that. This is actually 3 platted lots. They're all non-conforming lots that were platted sometime in the late 50s, early 60s. And so the whole area is zoned R2, as you'll see from this. All this yellow here is R2. So they're allowed to build 3 single-family houses here, but what they're wanting to do, the house that they want to put on these lots is a little wider, so they'd like to have 10-foot setbacks, side setbacks, instead of the required 15-foot setback. And you all tabled this at your last meeting, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have, and the applicant is here this time as well.
Okay.
LCPC did review this at their last month's, or actually the meeting in May, and they recommended approval of this to you.
And we did ask to table this. We want to give Commissioner Jones some time to review this. Let's hear from the applicant, just so will you please come, sir, state your name and for the record, and just tell us about your request, and then we'll have Commissioner Jones. Commissioners, you may have some questions, but let me start with Commissioner Jones soon as he's done. If you just tell us who you are, sir.
I'm Josh Wheeler. I applied for this. There's 3 lots originally right there. There were 6-foot wide lots. That was before they did the side setbacks to there. So I'm just asking to do 10-foot side setbacks instead of 15. So we built 3 nice homes there and not put something else there, you know what I mean? Just, do you have any questions on a plan, or have you seen the houses I built out there so far, down the white? That I've done so far, I think I've done about 10 of them in the area.
All right, just don't go far, so if you will. Commissioner Jones?
How you do, sir? I have, since we tabled last time, I had a chance to go and visit the area in question, and I've gotten a chance to speak with several of the residents. And along with speaking with several residents, I received several emails also, and they are not in agreement with wanting the variance changed from what it is. I got a chance to, I guess, ride the whole aisle, both sides, and seeing some of the homes, I guess, that you recently built, and some of the newer homes that are being built presently also. Myself personally, I'm learning, and I guess we have variances for a reason. The people that took their time and developed the variances, ordinances that we abide by, we go by, we are guided by, there for a reason. And if we're not going to go by what we have on the books, there's no need to have them. And if we are going to change the ordinance every time someone comes and make a request, then we really don't need the ordinances. We need to either rewrite them or do something different. So, like I said, I understand the concerns of the residents that approached me and gave me the tools. So, that being said, Mr. Chairman, I have nothing else on that. I'll be ready to make a motion at any time.
Let's hear from you.
Can I speak again real quick for a minute? Well, the subdivision was developed with 3 houses on it originally, and that's before the ordinance were in place. I understand what ordinance got put in place to help the situations like that. But, you know, it was done, set by 60 foot wide with 3 houses on it. That's what was approved originally. And so that's what I'm trying to do what was originally approved. And so we're still building nice houses, so we keep this, you know, we're doing a lot better than what's been out there before of houses, the trailer, you know, we're cleaning things up, doing nice stuff out there. So we're not lowering the value or lowering the living standards for anybody out there, I feel like. If you take that into consideration, that I feel like we're doing a good thing for the neighborhood, and what we're building out there is, and that's what, so I'm not really changing anything that was in place. I mean, I don't know.
Mr. Chairman, I had a question following that, Mr. Wheeler. So the other lots that are along that road, they're in that subdivision, are they about the same size
Yeah,
as the 3 that you're trying to get approved?
They're all approved, same size, all.
Same size?
Yeah, I mean, they're all the same size right there.
That's
They're all
what it
the same.
looks like, yeah. I was just wanting to make sure, and they're, I assume, one home per lot?
Now, some people combine lots together if they want to, buy 2 lots
Right.
to build one house on 2 lots, but that was, you know, that's their choice to do that.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Chris, would you prove,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but the way this, I don't know if it was ever called a subdivision, I guess it was just, at one time there, people bought the lots from either Mr. Salter or whoever else had that place, but is it zoned now, Jeff, that those 3 lots that he's talking about, you can put a mobile home on it then, can't you?
In the R2 district, yes.
So that's what this is, an R2 district.
It is R2 district.
And that was my one question. Of course, I was here when Commissioner Jones voted to table it, and I understand. Me personally, and this is, I would much rather seen a stick-built home in there than I would a mobile home. Just for the simple fact is, you know, it is across, you know, that close to the coast and the wind factor. But, I just, it's a county road, this Carpenter Drive, is that something maintained by the county, or is that how is it set up? Do you know?
It's a county.
So we scrape it and we've got the room, I mean, there's enough room for both vehicles to pass on and stuff like that?
Need to start over. No, you don't.
But that was my question is, number one, it used to be a private subdivision, now it's not. So it's basically, if you wanted to put mobile homes in there, double wide, single wide, or whatever, you can do that. Is that, Mr. Zeckman, is that the way you see it? Okay. And that's what it's not that I'm against the mobile homes, I'm just saying that there was times when in Liberty County and in Hinesville and most of our other municipalities, that was an affordable necessity because of the way the growth was. But, a stick-built home is something that I hadn't never seen any home that you built. I don't look for them, but I just wanted to say that, to me, not going against what Commissioner Jones is saying, I just would rather us have a stick-built home on it, and if the county's able to grade it with the having the side yard setback, a little bit different, I wouldn't have no problem with it, me personally, but I mean, we'll see what everybody else's feelings is on it.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Rickerson, to comment on what Mr. Jones said, he said about, having variances and if you don't abide by them, what you started. Having ordinances, not variances. But we do have ordinances, and they do keep us in line. But they're not etched in stone, and you can vary from them. And the petitioner, he's asking for a variance to the existing ordinance. And our friends and the board members that we appoint from LCPC have, their recommendation is approval. Now, there are a lot of things that can come before us from LCPC that's approved, and we'll vote and we can disapprove. So that's, we have that that final say so, but we do need the ordinances. Without that, God knows where we would be. But from time to time, people do, they want to ask for a variance. And, this same board that can disapprove something that's been approved by LCPC can also make a variance to an existing ordinance. And, I don't know how long this ordinance has been in place, but I do know that, just looking at it and, what they're trying to do, I don't have an issue with it. So I just wanted to say, the ordinance is the ordinance, and, thank God we have them. But you can reconsider from time to time, and you can vary that ordinance as is. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments?
I guess, Mr. Chair, just a quick question, I guess, for Mr. Rickerson. In the past, we've had the opportunity to address the same issue down there with other variances on these lots. So I guess the question is more towards you, other than the applicant. Is it just because of the plat layout from the 60s is one of the main reasons why we keep having this same issue or occurrence over and over?
Yes, sir. These lots were built in 1960, which was about 15 years before the county enacted its first zoning. So you didn't have 15-foot setbacks at the time that these lots were created. So these were just leftover that weren't built on, and there's 3 of them there. You can still build a house on it. It's just got to be a skinnier house. It might not be the same width of house that you want. It's got to be a little bit more deep instead of wide.
Okay, so I guess the question that I have, and just like Commissioner Gillard was talking about we do have the opportunity for for variances. Is this something that we need to look at as well for that particular area? Instead of the applicant, not just him, but it could be Commissioner Stevens tomorrow. They might buy a lot out there and need a variance. So is there something that we could change for just that particular area? I guess, Mr. Zekman?
There have been several lots out there, but it's a limited number. This is, as these old subdivisions get fully built out, you won't have this to recur. But there are a number of them that never got built on that present an opportunity to come in and ask for a variance.
Okay. All right. I was just sort of like Groundhog Day. Over and over, same thing. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Wheeler, if I heard Mr. Rickerson right, so it's not that you can't build a house with the current configuration. You would have to default to a smaller home. Have I got that right?
No, sir, really, that right there, we want to be able, there we could build 3, but other plat you showed earlier, you really want to build two houses, the one that has the ski lot in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I can add some clarity to that. The brothers who own this property, they still own it, right? You haven't bought it from them?
Well, actually, I did buy this one because we've been doing over and over the same thing,
So the brothers inherited these 3 lots, the 3 lots that you saw. One of them combined this for tax purposes. He combined his half into his other lot, so he's got this bigger lot.
Okay,
His brother never combined it, so he's got this skinny lot here.
okay.
As far as the platting, it's a legally platted lot. You can go back to
so,
the one we looked at anytime you want to and build on it.
It's skinny.
These are all
Yeah.
3 legal lots.
Right.
so if you have a 60-foot wide lot and you have to go about a 15-foot side setbacks, then you're talking about a 30-foot wide lot with a septic tank, drain field.
Very-
At that point, you can't do it. I mean, it's not going to work. I mean, the only thing you could do is then put like a trailer on there. It's more like a single wide or a double wide trailer at the max.
This
Or
one
make
is,
it work.
the corner lot is 60, these 2 are 70 foot wide.
Yeah, so if you got side setbacks at the 10, where that's 40-foot wide house with a septic tank is what you can build a house on. At 30-foot, you really can't do it except put a trailer on it.
I was trying to think of a way that you could still build a house, even though it may be a smaller home, but to maintain the lot configuration. But you're saying that you only do a mobile home?
At that point, yeah, if you have to have 15-foot side setbacks with the 6-foot wide lot,
All right.
I mean, that's.
Every now and then we can pull a rabbit out of the hat, but I don't see that this time.
I think a house is the way to go. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
sir, if this ordinance variance was denied, what would be your future plans for this property?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to work it out the best I can for everybody, for myself and for the neighbors at the time. But I mean, naturally you get to a point where it don't make sense, or you got to, at that point, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I would do. Really.
Have you gotten a chance to speak with any of the adjoining neighbors or any of the members of that community on this?
I mean, I've already built, I think, about 10 the same, just 10 in the same community already. Everybody around there has been very happy about it. Robert Norby, if you know him, he lives right across the street from where I did 6 of them. He's super happy with what I've done there, from what it was to what I came and did there. He's super happy with it. I mean, so I don't see why.
Did we have to, Jeff, did we have to do anything with the variances or the ordinances for these other homes that he's built?
Yes, sir. Mr. Wheeler's been here a couple times and gotten variances for the other houses that he's built.
And
Third time.
I think this was part of the reason that some of the residents contacted me. I think the 6 houses you spoke of in particular, they are side by side. That was one of the reasons that they were against the ordinance variance because of, I guess, how close the houses are. I mean, they look nice, I guess, from comparing to what it was, but they are real closely built. And I think that was part of the concern of the residents of the houses being so closely built. And if we, I guess, reduce the variance, that would allow for the same situation where the houses would be built closer, my understanding.
If you go to a 10-foot setback versus a 15-foot setback, they could be as close as 20 feet apart. This 15-foot setback that you currently have in place, they have to be 30 feet apart, a minimum of 30 feet apart.
Which works in Hinesville. Commissioner Stevens?
Yeah. The septic system out there, how is it? Is it individual, or would it be, is it individual now on these lots now, the septic system?
It is individual septic system.
So right now, there's 3 out there now.
I don't think you have that yet, do you?
I'm talking according to the lots,
You got 3 lots. There's 3 platted legal lots there.
but there's no septic system out there yet? On these 3 existing lots?
That's right, that's right.
It's naked lots, right? Just
They're vacant lots.
vacant lots, yeah.
Oh, vacant lots? Okay. So what would happen to that little strip
Anyway,
there on the, right in the middle, right there?
That's the original, right?
That's the original, but they're changing it to.
That's how it exists now.
Yeah, I don't think we even need to focus on that, because that's.
No, but I just asked a question. I don't say what I don't need to focus on. I just asked a question.
What has happened here
I'm
is.
sorry, sir.
This is half of that middle
Don't
lot.
jump on me.
No.
This is half of the middle
I
lot.
think you win that
It's
one.
been incorporated into the corner lot there. But it could be easily be broken back out, just a simple administrative thing, go to the assessor's office and break that back out and have the original 3 lots that were platted. They just combined it for tax purposes. They wanted it all in one lot.
All right. Okay.
I would recommend to Commissioner Jones that we table this again, but I'm not sure where it would go if we,
I was thinking along the same lines, but like I said, I've spoken to several of the residents and I've got a lot of input. Jeff, have you gotten any input on the request from the
Just the
public?
folks that came to the last meeting. They came to the last meeting and they were at the planning commission meeting as well.
Ms. Wood, did you bring any, just for a matter of record, at the meeting, did any of your supporters come? I say your supporters, Mr. Norby, or anybody else come to speak?
I didn't ask them to.
You didn't ask them to? Okay.
Well, Robert works out there with me at Public Works, and when it was discussed at the meeting, I guess, 2 weeks ago, or whenever it was, the last meeting in July, he stopped by the office, and we were talking about some other stuff, and then he mentioned it, and he did, as Mr. Wheeler said, he doesn't have a issue with it.
Call the question, Mr. Chairman.
Listen, I'm not sure we've done this before. Commissioner Jones, would you mind, let's table this one more time?
No, sir, I would suggest that I would like to table it again for some further discussion, maybe.
Because you hadn't heard from Mr. Norby yourself.
No, sir.
Okay.
Never met him.
I could call him.
That's all right. That's all right. Just put those two in touch with each other.
That being said, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion if we're ready.
We ready?
I would make a motion, I'd make a motion that we table this until another meeting.
How many days?
Motion.
Yeah, we really,
Another
I
meeting?
didn't get it last time, but, and whether it's 2 months or 30 days, it really.
30 days.
It doesn't, yeah, so whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
I second it.
okay. All right, let's say it's 30 days at the most, could be sooner. But 30, all right. And first, this, I just want to give, actually, some more thought myself to, as well as give Commissioner Jones time to hear from people who find no issue with the project, so you can have both sides of that presented, other than hearing from the petitioner. It's just trying to be fair and give us all some more time to think maybe this thing through. I don't say, like someone said, I don't guarantee it'll be different, Mr. Wheeler, at that time, but at least let's give it a little more thought and let this commissioner get to hear from some of the other property owners in the area of the project.
I'll see why we need more time.
And I heard, I think more time could be in your favor, you know, but listen, now, if you don't want to do that, then we can certainly, yeah.
I mean, I'd rather not give it more time, really.
Sir?
I'd rather not give it more time. I mean, I don't see why we need more time. I mean, unless,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, all 7 of us are here. I don't know.
I don't know why,
Yeah.
what the need for this.
Usually we hear from both if there's,
When they were here last time, I'm here this time, so I was,
yeah, but you're the petitioner, so you're a little bit different as versus someone who lives in the quote-unquote neighborhood who would also
Right.
speak favorably to your project, yeah.
I mean, I live it out white myself.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean,
hear you.
so,
I hear you. But you're the petitioner, so,
Yeah, but I mean, that's,
so you kind of in a different category. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Just a quick question, just, I guess, to get some clarification. So, Mr. Ricketson, in the past, we've approved the variance
That's correct.
in the same area.
That's right. In the Isle of Wight, in the same
9 times.
area.
And now, we're trying to figure out if we're gonna not do it this time. I was just trying to get clarification. Thank you.
And the difference is with the, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember really, and I apologize. With the previous request, there were not any people opposed to the request.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what make the difference.
Understood. But now, I might be wrong, but I remember when we had some of these requests in the past, and we were looking at this, and I think we were even discussing, talking to the LCPC to make it like just a blanket variance. I know we had that discussion. I don't think we ever moved forward with it because of the way how these particular lots were made from 1960. And I mean, I understand, but this is like
Yeah,
2022.
I recall that conversation also, but what, was it Isle of Wight?
Right, it
That-
was,
that
It was
caused
the same area.
it was the
same
same area.
Okay.
So that's what I guess I'm just trying to get a grasp of.
Okay, all right.
If we were,
Thank you for that recollection. I didn't identify, I didn't put the two together.
right,
I knew we had the discussion, but I didn't put it.
yes, sir. That's why I'm here.
Mr. Chairman, I think right now that there's probably the same amount of folks sitting up here as there was 30 days ago.
Yeah.
And I think 30 days is, an opportunity for, like Commissioner Jones said, he got to go down there and meet with them. I look at the lots that's in there, and I don't know how many people live next door to it, but I think that we give ample enough time. Me personally, that's my feelings on it, and I'm ready to vote. If we will vote it to table it or vote it to approve it, it don't make any difference to me.
Mr. Chairman, going back to what I said earlier, looks like a lot of those lots are the same size or smaller than the ones he's wanting to get approved now. And we've already approved several times, and he's already built them out. So I'm ready to vote
So
tonight.
you're saying the precedent has been set?
Hey,
Yes,
I
I'm
mean,
ready. Yeah, and then
I
we'll
don't-
move
Saying the
on.
precedent has been.
Let
All
them
right,
move on.
well, this motion on the floor, we need to vote it up and vote it down, and then we can go to another
Mr.
motion.
Chairman, one more comment.
Yes, sir.
And I understand the sentiment that all of the commissioners are voicing. I'm new to this. I haven't been a part of a bunch of the variance ordinances requests. And like I said, I may see differently than others have seen before in the past. Like I said, I'm going with what the residents that I have spoken with, the people that I have met, the emails that I have got concerning this request. And I've just met you first time and I understand your concerns. As a builder, we don't want to, I guess, restrain you from doing what you want with your property, but I go back to what I said earlier, you know, the variances are there for a reason. And if we are not going to abide by them, we don't need them. Let's take them and chunk them out and start all over.
I agree.
But I'm going by what we presently have on the books and what the residents that have contacted me expect by the ordinances that we abide by, the ordinances that we've approved and okayed. So the motion was made to table it. We go from there.
Okay, all right.
Man, we had
Other
a,
discussion?
you had a second, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I did.
Okay.
All right, the motion on the floor to table this request, and I will say, Mr. Wheeler is saying that's not his preference. I'm just making it clear. Am I right, sir? All right, okay, I made it clear. All right, all in favor of tabling this, please let me know by show of hands. All right, motion fails. All right.
Okay.
Chair entertain a new motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion and second that we approve the request as presented by this petitioner. Any further discussion? I think we, all in favor?
Yes, sir, one more comment. I guess it's just complimentary, but by me representing that district, I thought it was customary that I would be the one to make the motion on anything involving that district, if I'm correct. If I'm not, I stand corrected.
Well, most of the time, but not exclusively.
Okay, I stand corrected.
And, you know, also, Commissioner, there may be some instances where we take action where you may not even be here. Or there could be a conflict of interest, so, you know,
Yeah. And sometimes commissioners will hand off that to another commissioner too, based on the circumstances. All right, now, where am I, Mr. Brown? All right, that's the only discussion, we're done with discussion. All right, all in favor, let it on a show of hands, please, for the, okay, all right. All against? All right, one opposed. All right, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I guess let me say this because Commissioner Fraser, the precedent had been set, we've done this several times, the very same area. And that Commissioner Jones, I understand where you are. You represent the citizens who spoke with you. I understand where you are. But the precedent has been set for this very same area of the county where this has been done, we said 3 times before?
This was the third.
This was the third time? Okay, third time. All right.
Mr. Chair, can I just make a comment? I guess can we, or I guess LCPC, look at how many more lots out there in that particular area that are, where we might have this issue come in front of us?
We will look into it and give you a report back on what we see in the future.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, conditional use.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, this is a request by Mr. Edward Layden, who's the owner of the property. He wants to, they're doing business as Merkwood Farms LLC. They want to, they're a chemical-free agricultural enterprise and agro-tourism hub. That's easier for me to say. They produce vegetables, poultry, duck, and goats, and they want to sell these commercially on the property. They want to have a produce tent stand that is at the front of one of their parcels. The property is located at 73 Johnson Circle in Fleming. Properties are zoned AR1, which is ag residential, and the back part of each property is zoned A1, which is agricultural. Each parcel is an acre each, and it's not responding to me anymore.
Think you may have to help him out.
There you go. Okay. That's the ad we ran in the Coastal Courier. That's the sign. This road right here is Highway 17. You're looking back toward Richmond Hill there. And this is a picture of the property as seen from Highway 17. You can see This is kind of, this is the entrance road. It's an unpaved, ungraveled road going back from 17 back into the property. This is, area on both sides of the driveway is someone else's property, and this is just an easement going back to those two lots, and there's an appreciable amount of tents and campers and vehicles and stuff on the property. And this is looks like it's not inhabited, sorry. Looks like it's a not inhabited mobile home located here as well. We didn't go back into the property. There are a lot of no trespassing signs on the property, so this is as good as we could present for you here. This is the map showing the location. That's Highway 17. This Leroy Cofer Highway here. So the property is right here. There's a big parcel here, and these two parcels are in the back of that. I'll show you a little bit better picture of it. Again, Highway 17, the big parent tract, and then these two 1 acre tracts located sort of landlocked within the property. The only access is this easement, which is called Johnson Circle, going back into the property. The dark green is A1, the light green is AR1. And that's just a different view of the same thing I just showed you. And it's a little bit closer up of the two parcels there. You can see the dirt road going back to the property there. You can see the mobile home that I showed you there and some of the other various things around the property. And that's a plat of the property, just showing their access to the property and the two 1 acre lots here. And it's just showing the flood area, and the area, the back corner of the property is within the flood area. And this is the applicant's statement, just saying they would like to have a stand on the property to sell produce and meats that they sell there on the property. And this is just some photographs that we got from the property, just showing the current condition of the property. You can see sort of a homemade shower here, a tree house here, another type of small structure there on the property. And there's a YouTube link here that kind of shows that they're operating a campground there. I've never heard of a hip camp, but they're advertising and marketing for a hip camp. It's a place where you can come and camp out with very minimal accommodations. Like there's no, I don't think there's restrooms on the property, but anyway, those are pictures that we were able to gather from the current operation on the site. And of course, we have our ordinances that y'all talked about extensively earlier. These are the guidelines that you use to consider whether to consider granting a conditional use. And I'll go through these for you. Approval of the conditional use shall not adversely affect the economic values and physical appearance of the neighborhood of areas surrounding the site or lot in question. And our response to that is the property is currently in violation of multiple provisions of the Liberty County zoning ordinance. You saw there's structure zone there. Some of those don't meet the minimum size of a dwelling in Liberty County. So that's one. There's a number of other ones that the county has written a letter to the occupant, and there's been no response at this point. So they clearly are in violation. I think the next step is to go to magistrate court and work that out. So just wanted to put that into the record that there are currently violations on the property, zoning violations. Next one is the physical and environmental effects of allowing the condition shall be considered. The note that we have there is the property does not have frontage on coastal highway. Its only access is from an unpaved easement. And if you go out there and look from the highway, it's pretty rough. There's not even any gravel on the easement. Next one is buffer zones where necessary to shield any adverse factors shall be considered. According to the aerial, there are existing tree buffers, so it is actually buffered because it's really doesn't have any frontage on Highway 17. And the final consideration, additional space for parking, landscaping, building, loading zones. Setback shall be considered as necessary to protect adjacent properties. Now, our note there is due to the current zoning and code violations, the property might contain hazards which would be unsafe for the public. We have observed that there are some wiring violations as far as the codes go and other things that might be unsafe on the property. So the Planning Commission heard this at their last month's meeting, and they recommend disapproval. And I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have about this request.
I have a few.
Okay, He's the petitioner.
He's a petitioner, yes, sir.
Will you please come, sir, and state your name and a little overview of your request there? Then we'll come back to you, Commissioner.
Well, we got this property back in 2009, and we're,
Give me your name, please, sir.
my name's Joseph Layden. Edward Layden isn't actually the petitioner, I am. I own Mirkwood Farms LLC. My father owns the property. He bought it for us in 2009, and we had intended to fix up the double-wide trailer that was there, get all the things that needed to be a home. We weren't necessarily planning to live in there. Our main purpose was to build a wood shop. And this would allow us to do our subcontracting business and everything. We got the approval for that, and I have it here. But over the next couple months, we got the well that we needed to get and several of the other things that were a condition of going forward with getting electricity and everything. And our well was stolen and the pump pulled out of the ground. We tried various things without electricity to protect our property. We put a fence up, they stole the fence. They came in and ripped all of the copper out of the trailer. They took the AC units, they took the heaters. We kept trying various things to protect it. And over the course of the first 2 years that we had it, they'd ripped out all of the cabinets in the place. They took out, on Thanksgiving Day, they came out and took out the hardwood flooring. And it just became impossible to go on with what we wanted to do with it without being able to protect the property. So we, it laid fallow, or I don't know if you say fallow, but it was abandoned by us, basically, because there was, at a certain point, there was nothing left to steal. And so we, in 2019, we decided we were going to give it another go, start. A church had been built there right across the street, and they had clear-cut the lot next door. So we thought there was a chance, now that people could see back there a little bit better, that we could find a way to protect it. And we started doing this by keeping chickens out there. We thought if we had chickens out there and some ducks, that people would maybe think there's some people around here now and we don't need to be stealing their property. But we were having to bring water in all the time. And we, at the same time, we became more interested in farming. And we got a cottage food, we incorporated, became an LLC, and got a cottage food license for our domestic kitchen in Richmond Hill. And started going to the farmers markets and selling some of our produce and our cakes. I actually have some cakes my mom made, some pecan pumpkin? And this is the same thing she does at the Hinesville Farmers Market here. Would you mind giving them some of that? If you want to test what we do, I'd like, my mom sent those for you. But she
Number.
just, you can just set them up there. If anybody wants, or set them there if anybody wants one.
I mean, legally, can we do that?
If you don't want them, you don't have to. But that's what we sell at the Richmond Hill Farmers Market and at the Hinesville Farmers Market. And we've been trying to develop this neighborhood, and we plan on putting the copper back in the building, putting the sheetrock back in the building, putting the cabinets back in, and finally going on with this. But we received a note, the citation that was there a couple of months ago. Well, first we got a message on Facebook, and the Facebook message said that we needed to contact the Liberty County Building and Licensing Department, I believe it was. And so I called him. The person that contacted us on Facebook wouldn't disclose her name. We called up there, and the lady who answered said, yeah, you guys got to get a business license for some of the things you're doing out there. And I explained, well, I have spoken with Mr. Ricketson about that about 7 months ago. I called him, and we discussed, because I was just wanting to sell my own produce at the time, and I was doing these farmers market things, and I wanted to put a tent up to sell some of our own produce and possibly some of our own cottage foods there as well. And he called around and found out that to do our own stuff, that's no problem. But if we wanted to sell other people's stuff, then we would need to get a business license, and for that, we would need a special exception permit. Well, I didn't need to do that at that time, and I still don't need to do that I'm way away from it. We've got a lot of work to do on that place, so I'm hoping that I could do this by summer. But because I made that call to the building and licensing department, and they said, you need to get a business license, I called back the zoning, which is what Mr. Ricketson's with, called back them and said, oh, I'll go ahead and put in the permission and the special exception permit, and I paid my $350 and wrote the letter and got that done. I don't need it until summer. I just want to be right
Next summer?
and do the right thing. And Mr. Ricketson told me last week to call back to the building and licensing department and make sure I had all the things that they were worried about, the property taken care of. I've called several times. I left a message yesterday, and I haven't heard back from them. As far as what I saw in the letter, now the letter came after the Facebook call and after they told me that I needed to get a business license. It came to my father's house, and he told me, it was about a week, a little bit more later. I looked on it, and the four things that were mentioned were that no fires. We haven't had any fires out there since at least 6-7 months, since the last time there was a lot of deadfall after a storm. I didn't know that I was supposed to ask for a permit to do that in the county. Another one was not to have campers on the place. We did have a camper. I think that's may have what caused the problem. We had a camper that we were using as for our chickens. When the chickens hatch out of our incubation station, we've got a gutted camper, and it's got cages lining all the side. And it said that this, in the letter, it said that we needed to have that behind something. So we pulled it back onto the agricultural part instead of the agricultural residential part and put it behind a shed. And we have, there was the other thing that no smells can emanate from the property. Our chicken coops are very clean. You're welcome to come out and sniff the coops or whatever we have to do to determine the level, but there's nobody around us for a mile. I mean, I don't know how they may have determined that. We have a really
Mr. Layton, can you bring it on in for me?
What's that?
Can you bring it?
I can bring a chicken. I can bring something from the chicken coop.
Your presentation, can you? Yeah. You're getting a little lengthy.
I didn't mean anything by that. I'm just. The other one was no living quarters on the agricultural residential part of the building. And we do have a shed and incubation station in it, but there's nobody living in it. The insides are bare. It's not hooked up to electricity. We have a couple sheds and utility buildings on our agricultural part of the building, but not on the agricultural residential. So I was just calling the licensing and building to see what I needed to do to make sure that I'm in compliance with this. And we do want to repair the road. We want to repair the double-wide trailer that was vandalized and get all the things that it needs to do. In the future, maybe have a bed and breakfast there, but we have a lot of work to do. And the reason I applied for this permit wasn't because I want to do this tomorrow. It's just that that's what I was told to do by the lady at the building. And
But you fully recognize that there's much to be done to get it up to par to meet the county's
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
requirements. All right, sir. So you're not disputing that?
No, sir. No,
Okay.
sir.
All right. Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir, the property, it is highly buffered. It's off of Highway 17. Unless you really, when you pass by, the only thing you're aware of that the property is back there, just the dirt road going down in there. I have family that, excuse me, I have family that has property adjoining this property, and no one lives there now, but I'm aware of maybe the family moving back to that property at some point to live. And if I had to make a recommendation, I would, especially with all of the issues that have been pointed out,
Right.
I'd be ready to make a motion.
Okay.
Can we pause and maybe let me make a phone call to see
Thank you.
before we take action?
I appreciate it, sir.
If you don't mind, if you could, because of potential conflict, I just want to make sure he's okay in making that motion legally, so.
Because
If you would allow me, because he has
Property.
family adjoining the property. And it may be perfectly fine, I just want to make sure, I'm not saying it's not, I just want to make sure.
yeah, it's not direct family. I mean, it's umpteenth, 13th, 14th cousins, so it's no direct family.
I'm closer to you than that.
I just pointed that out to let you know that I was aware of the property in question, so,
Well, I guess the question then is, would you have an issue with someone else making the motion? You, what's the word, recluse? I can't think of it.
That'd be the safe.
Right, that's what I'm about
Yeah.
to say.
That'd be the safe.
He can excuse himself.
Yeah, any other questions for the petitioner? I mean, listen, if I heard the gentleman, I'm sorry.
I have a couple of questions. Now, you said, sir,
Recuse.
you said that you were the,
I got
you're the owner of the business or the owner of the property?
Not of the property. My father's the owner of the property.
Okay. And I'm just reading this first slide. And you want to sell, is this packaged poultry and ducks, or is this live animals?
Just live animals.
Live animals?
Animals and produce.
And you got a chicken coop, you said that doesn't smell.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's,
And, well, no, it's, I mean, if you walk
That's-
right
that's-
up
that's-
on
that's
the
got to
on it,
be,
but it doesn't smell from the road.
that's got to be a first. That's got to be a first.
He needs to
Wait a
get.
minute, I can talk about chickens. You can't talk about
Yeah,
chickens.
yes, I can.
Now, I have a duck coop as well,
And also, and goats,
and goats.
goats as well, okay. And you are aware of all the violations that Mr. Rickerson talked about? You have been in contact with Mr. Rickerson?
Yes, we've talked. Well, I believe we spoke about a little over a week ago, I believe.
Okay.
And I explained then about the violations, and he recommended that I get this taken care of with the building licenses. I've been trying to get in touch with them. I don't know who to speak to find
And-
out. I thought, because of what they had, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and I think you also said that you didn't know that you needed a license, but yet still your plan was to open up a commercial establishment and sell to the public, and you didn't think you needed a license for that? That's what you said earlier?
To sell our own produce according to the zoning
No,
regulations.
I'm talking, not only produce, you're selling ducks and chickens and goats.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And your plan was to sell that to anybody that came out there, right?
yes, sir.
And you didn't think you needed a license to open up an establishment like that?
That's what Mr. Rickinson told me, if as long as it's mine and not someone else's, and that's the way that the zoning it reads as well. So.
Okay.
If there's another,
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'm a little bit lost here. You are Mr. Layden?
I'm Joseph Layden.
Okay, and Mirkwood is just a name?
Mirkwood Farms LLC is what I named the LLC.
So you're the owner of the property, not your dad?
My dad owns the property. I own the farm, but the farm doesn't, the LLC also includes my cottage food business, which is in Richmond Hill. It's not just one property.
All right, but my question is, we typically, we deal with the owner, correct, Mr. Ricketson? I mean, it says here, Edward Layden, owner of the chemical-free agricultural enterprise. So I don't know about the zoning, are we gonna be zoning somebody else's property, or does this man own the property?
It's his father's property, and sometimes we have an agent come in and ask for a rezoning, but we have to get the approval from the owner. The owner,
Okay.
Mr. Edward Layden, has consented to this, so Mr. Joseph.
Consented to you?
It's considered as part of the paperwork.
Okay, so, but still, the owner really ought to be the applicant to say, this is what we're gonna do, and this man's gonna run it. And that was my biggest concern right there is, and, I mean, it looks to me like, you know, you got, I understand the animals and the chickens, and I'm talking about the eggs and stuff like that, but, I mean, the process is you get a license to do that first, and then, of course, you have to have any of your building structures, you have to have that, of course, with building and licensing. So it looks like you got a pretty good plan. It's just out of order a little bit right there. So, you know, I would think that the best thing to do is, like you're saying, you to disapprove it until we can get everything lined up. I mean, Mr. Zeckman, he hadn't said anything. He's been real quiet back there. I think he's on the roost. But anyhow, I'm just concerned about that, you know, that let's deal with the owner. I mean, the gentleman that was up here earlier, I know he was a agent for whoever owned that property, or maybe he does own it, I don't know, but, and I know this is in Commissioner Jones's area, and, right now, there's nobody back there, but if they do own the property and they drive in there tomorrow morning and say, what is this being built? You know, it does, you know, we want to make sure we got everything done, so, I mean, I don't have a problem with a man selling goats, chickens, eggs, or anything like that. It's just, we need to get everything done so the next guy that moves in beside you can do the same thing, and it's legal. So, I mean, you know, you're liable to be opening up, you know, something that everybody wants to do, but right now, it ain't in compliance, the way I look at it now, that's just it.
He admits that, Commissioner.
Right, I just.
You done, sir?
Sir?
Are you done?
Yes, sir, out, I'm out the door.
And I agree, and I think the applicant agree as well, to try to sum all this up. Is there any way possible that the applicant could just rescind his application instead of us just disapproving it? Because I mean, he's sitting here telling us that he knows he's in violation. So I don't even understand why we're sitting here having this discussion, because if we disapprove it, he can't ever come back, right? Or how does that work?
Come back.
Come back.
If you disapprove it, he can come, he has to wait 6 months before he can come back. If he withdraws, he wouldn't be prejudiced, he could come back next month if he gets it all cleaned up.
And I'm not an attorney, but I mean, those are your options, sir.
I would like to withdraw.
Thank you.
And learn more, yes, sir.
All right, appreciate you.
That was,
No more discussion.
All right.
Thank you.
Some
Okay, sir.
direction, you know, try and
Learn
get
something in school.
Mr. Zickman's office,
Yeah,
work
just
with
get
him,
with
give
them
some
to
direction.
work through all the deficiencies.
Yeah, just.
Okay.
Which one, sir?
The gentleman behind you.
Right.
Building and license
Uh-huh.
office.
All right.
Appreciate you and good luck.
What are we doing now, Mr. Chairman?
Well, he withdrew.
Oh, you did withdraw?
Yes, sir.
You got that, Joey?
I thought perhaps they had been discussed and he decided to come forth anyway. That's why I figured he was, okay. Yeah, that was right.
Now, look here, when you leave, don't take the cake with you, all right?
You leave invitation.
Yeah, and one day I want to try that Airbnb out.
That it, sir?
That's it, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Sir. New business agreement amendment, Southeast Corrections.
All right, act to follow,
Speaking of
man.
attorneys,
Called for a lawyer.
Watch him now, he's gonna put you on the clock.
can I say this before you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, for wanting to do the right thing.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Appreciate wanting to do the right thing, and just get
No
it
problem.
right and come back to us.
Always look for out. Always look for out.
All right, I'm sorry.
I will just start off by saying this. Board of Commissioners has been very good to state court, and I appreciate that. If you'll recall, back April of last year, y'all approved the transition to a new probation company. There was a contract, an agreement between the new probation company, Southeast Corrections, and the board. In that agreement, the probation company was going to charge $41 a month supervision fees. There's a request, they're requesting to go from $41 to $45 a month supervision fees. And so because it's a contract with the board, we're asking the board to amend the contract to allow supervision fees be changed from $41 to $45.
That,
Got Mr. Hawkins from Southeast Corrections to answer any questions.
so he's a petitioner? Are you petitioner?
I am teeing it up and I'm leaving it. This is John Hawkins. He's actually over our local office right here on Main Street.
Okay. I think the first thing, Mr. Osteen, we'd like to hear from you is how has that been going? Give us an overview of the,
Well, I'll say this, I'm not here requesting that we make another change with the probation companies. So, I will say, from my standpoint, things have gone well. And I really couldn't be, any more pleased. I really think that we got a good working relationship. I'm able to talk to them. They got a local office, it's fully staffed. Any questions I have, any issues I have, I can get with them, we can get it resolved. They've also got a contract really with Superior Court with Judge Robert Russell. When a felony case is reduced to a misdemeanor, they also have contracted with Southeast Corrections for them to provide probation services to our local Superior Court as well.
Well, now, this is something right here, the judge is saying everything's working fine and the other fellow wants more money.
yeah.
I'm just the messenger, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
I
just,
got you.
just say hello to us if you will. So I think the gentleman next to you has done a good job of explaining.
Yes, thank you. My name's John Hawkins. I work for Southeast Corrections. The idea of the increase, it's a $4 increase. Inflation's high. To work in the probation field, you have to have a minimum of 60 credit hours from college and AA associates. A lot of our employees have bachelors. And we have to compete to keep good staff. If turnover's over, it affects the court, it affects the county. The longer we can keep our staff, the better it works for everybody. Keep staff, you have to pay staff. When you got Chick-fil-A and others trying to find people, the wages are going through the roof right now. So
Yeah.
to keep good staff, we have to find a way to do that. I can tell you a little about the last year and a bit that we've had the courtroom and all the changes that have happened. For the county collections, we probably on average, we collect triple what the other company was doing beforehand. Community service hours, I think we've worked almost 6,000 hours from July 1st to June 30th. Over $10,000 in restitution was collected to victims. And the biggest part is the accountability to the defendants. We probably average 10 or more revocations every week, which means we're bringing people back in. Either they're walking in on their own volition to, here I am, Judge, I'm at your mercy, or they've absconded and the sheriff's department is bringing them in. But we're getting these people back that have been pled out to certain charges or just found guilty of something, and they have to do community service, DUI schools, risk reduction, drug and alcohol evaluations, anger management treatment. And if you don't hold those people accountable, a lot of that stuff won't get done. People won't learn from their mistakes, and the recidivism will continue. So we have drastically changed that from our predecessors, that we have people back in court, letting people know how important it is to get the treatment that you needed to complete the treatment that the court has ordered.
Okay. You mentioned collections, so Mr. Brown, we can say from the finance side that it's doing what it's supposed to do? Okay, all right. I think that's
I can tell you that's a drastic change.
Yeah, and that's a necessary change.
Mr. Chairman, when did we start, is it up right now, Judge?
No, sir, it's in place now. It was in place April 1st of last year.
I'm talking about the new fee.
The new,
Until we
the
approve.
new fee has not been implemented yet, no, sir.
But when will it start, is that do you know when it'll?
Whenever you approve.
Whenever,
If you
got
Okay.
I'll say this for this probation company as well. There are some instances that, you know, depending on the circumstances, I was actually gonna sentence some folks to jail. We're not Superior Court. I'm not the type of judge that just sentences people to jail. It's very rare that I sentence somebody to jail for a length of time. There have been a few instances where that has occurred. Due to, I would say, medical issues of the defendant, I know the jail didn't really want to take care of them, and I know that could be an expense to the county. So what this company has offered is they basically have a leg monitor. It's with the GPS, and we've put them on home arrest. We've allowed, with the condition that they can go to and from their doctor, but that's it. And so they have the capability to do that. Now, it is an extra cost to the defendants, but it's also one that we take into account with the fine. I may try to reduce the fine to offset that cost. But it's also a benefit to the county if we're not necessarily putting people in jail who need medical treatment. And so we're allowing them to stay home. And so this company is able to provide that where the previous company was not. So my point being, that's just another example of the relationship we have and how it's assisting not only the courts, but also the county.
Many times when people are presenting, we'll say, what is staff's recommendations? So I think I just heard you make your recommendation
Yes.
for this, $4 increase?
Chairman, you need a motion?
Need a motion?
Chairman, I make a motion that we increase the probation fee from 41 to 45.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Motion second, we approve the recommendation as presented. Any further discussion? Thank you for what you do beyond your title, sir. We appreciate that humanistic approach to working with people. Working with people. Appreciate it. All in favor, let me know by show of hands, please. All right, sir. It's done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to hear a good report on this new relationship that we have.
I appreciate it. And once again, from state court, y'all have worked with us and assisted us, and for that, I thank y'all.
Thank you.
I've heard some horror stories from some other judges, and I can honestly say that's not the situation here. So y'all are very accommodating and work with us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff, if you can get, when you do that research, just let me know what you find.
Yeah, I'll get right on that, just for you.
Okay, all right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
GDOT speed ordinance. Thank you, sir. We're gonna come visit sometime. Yes, sir. All right. Yes, sir. Mr. Long?
You received in your packet a copy of a speed ordinance, a letter from the Department of Transportation. Basically, what it does is outlines the speed limits that are for various roads, state system routes, as well as some local roads. Most of it is state route related. This needs to be adopted so that these speed limits can be enforced by our sheriff's department and local police. Looked at it, and I think you guys should go ahead and approve the commissioner to the chairman.
Have I just forgotten we've done this before?
Yes, sir. We do it every so many years. I can't remember how many years.
So many must be a pretty good. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm just looking at, and Commissioner's looking at this, so we have state roads primarily,
Mostly state roads, yes, sir.
but there are a
Look at the
few.
last two roads, the last two sheets, you have all system roads.
How do they
Chairman, I wanted
monitor
to-
that,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Long, how do they monitor to
how they-
increase or decrease the speed limit? How do,
Most of these roads have been there in the past and been on our list for years. So, so there's a couple of things. Your roads or your speed limits are set by statute for different types of roadways. You can change them via studies or different types of activities that have to be approved by the Department of Transportation if you change it other than what is statutory. So, like in a residential subdivision, if it's a paved road in a residential subdivision by statute, the speed limit is 30. If it's a dirt road by statute, the speed limit is 35. On a rural highway, it's 55. And you got different routes, and you know, if you have sharp curves or something that goes along that makes you need to lower the speed limit, you have to do a study that says you want to use a lower speed limit. Now, this doesn't cover like all of our roadways, but it covers the main ones, and without going into a bunch of studies and getting into a lot of expenses, we need to go ahead and adopt this so that we can go ahead and send this to the state, and we can continue enforcing speed limits.
But piggybacking on the commission, so they've come in and studied these roads, these recommendations, okay?
Yes, sir. We haven't had to do anything on this.
Okay. Now, the roads in the cities, that's,
Well, the city of Hinesville, we got,
You got a whole different list.
yeah, but, Mr. Simonton is spearheading that for the
Okay,
city, but they had to do the same thing
Okay.
with the city police.
commissioners, look, this is time sensitive, sir, I get the impression.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was looking for the date on the letter from Russell, but I don't see a letter on the date on the letter.
If we saw something and we want to question and or recommend an adjustment, we could come back and do that? Okay, all
You
right.
can, yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Chairman,
Be a little better about,
ask one question, and Joy, you probably can answer this. Is there any funding for some of these that change? If you got a road that's at 45 and you got to change it to 55, let's just say the road has just been paved, you got to change it, then we have to absorb all of that cost, or the DOT help us with the funding on changing those signs?
If it's a local road, then we have to fund the signs.
100%. Okay, on one here that you're looking at on your second page, let me ask a question, which says Flemington on it.
Okay, you're on sheet 1 of 6 or 2 of 6?
2 of 6.
2 of 6?
If you'll open up the first page and it's the next page over, it'll say Flemington.
Okay.
All right. In Flemington, you're showing 500 Fraser Martin Avenue, city limits. I don't know, what is that? Does that go all the way to, is 55 from there all the way to where?
Yes, so it'll be, if you start at 0.8 miles east of 500 Fraser Martin Avenue, and it goes, goes to 3.5 miles east of County Road 44, McIntosh Lake Road.
Well, and that's a school zone.
Well, school zones, you have school zones in there, yes. You can have reduced zones within this area. So what happens is you have the 55 miles an hour for the whole length. Where you have a school zone, you have a reduced speed zone ahead.
Right.
In the cases of our school zones, we have some beacons and some other things that go along with it that reduce the speed limit in those areas. So just because you have a reduced zone in the middle doesn't mean that the speed limit for the entire length is negated.
But, all right, so that speed limit there during the school zone, and the cameras is out there, is that DOT funded, or do we fund that? Because they've got cameras too.
So the cameras are funded through, I think Red Speed put those up. So Red Speed.
A contract the sheriff had with Red Speed, so they furnish the cameras, and also the ticketing of the folks, or the notices to the folks, but basically then they retain a portion of the fine for their putting up the cameras, and there's no upfront cost for the county.
That's right.
And that's just basically, that's at all of those schools on 84, or is that just?
I'm not sure which ones they put it on.
It's at Liberty High on the east side only, going to Midway.
Well, it's on
And you
both.
got it out on Airport Road,
Usually Red Speed puts it both ways.
where
If
there's
they
only
do
one
school,
up.
They usually have both directions.
Yeah, no, it's only just one up, and that one is not active yet, I don't think.
I'll have to check, I mean, I don't think it's active
So
either.
the road there, McIntosh Lake Road, for example, it's 45 going down McIntosh Lake Road? Is that what that's saying down there, below that?
Look on the bottom, you page 2 of 6, or what?
Yeah, 2 of 6. It's right underneath the one from in Flemington, but it says, County Road 44 McIntosh Lake Road to Homestown. I guess that's what it is. Yeah, to Homestown
So
Road. That's 45?
That's on Highway 84,
Right.
from
just 0.35 miles past McIntosh Lake Road to 0.35 miles west, which will be this side of Homestown Road. So when you kind of go over McIntosh Mountain, you drop down to a point,
Right.
45 miles an hour.
Supposed to.
You go through the intersection.
Right.
Point 45.
Well, that's what I'm saying, you got 55,
And you got
45, 55 out
Right.
there.
Yes.
And,
Yes, so what this is doing is this is describing, you got 55, 45 here from this segment, then you got 55 in this segment, and you got a 45 in this segment. And it doesn't necessarily go through and tell you what the advisory speeds are in each segment. Because if you have an advisory speed for a school zone or an advisory speed for a sharp curve, that's gonna be
that's gonna be
included in that segment.
Factored in.
yeah, okay, that's all, I just was noticing that jogging in the speed limit, you know, of course, when you go over to McIntosh, the railroad tracks, it's 45, but, I mean, when they come over the railroad tracks, they're running 75.
Well, you know, when you come across the top of the McIntosh Mountain and immediately afterward, you have a nice conversation with the state patrolman and he tells you that it's 45 and you were doing 65, you kind of learn where they were.
All right, I guess
I've been there.
I guess
Okay, so we got some money for putting up the signs, Jim?
Well, we don't have to change any signs for this.
We're in compliance? Oh, well,
Chair, entertain a motion.
And all these on the state
so
routes.
moved.
And all these on the state routes, they've already got a sign.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor? Show of hands, please. All right.
Sit.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Made it easy.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I know Mr. Long is ready to go, but I just got one question. What's the main holdup at Miller Park? I know this is not on the agenda, but you're
Okay, no.
standing there.
We just we've been trying to get Georgia Power to be able to relocate some of the utilities for free. But our facility down there, as far as the pavilion, isn't gonna generate enough to offset it, so we got an invoice from them today. Is that right, Joey? Or yesterday?
Today.
Today.
Sent today.
That they need a fee of like $5,300 something to move the poles and what we need to do. So we're processing that already so we can get that done.
Because that project can shut down for now about a month and,
5 weeks.
okay, I know it's over a month, pretty close.
Was that in our initial relocation in the packet? Was that money allotted for that? Oh, me, oh, my.
Yeah, we're
How about the fiber optic in there? Who's gonna move it?
that's, right now, they're supposed to be moving. We have not been sent
You know
any
what
kind of
that bill's gonna be?
notifications that there's any fund, that there's any cost to move that.
All right.
Okay.
Trying to. Thank you, Mr. Long.
Thank you.
Impact fees, Mr. Bill Ross.
Mr. Bill Ross is actually on the mid-month agenda, sir, and
Okay.
that is my mistake. I apologize.
All right.
Let's just vote on it anyhow.
All right, moving right along. HVAC, man, there are a lot of HVAC issues going on all over, including the mother Walmart.
Yes.
Yeah, and Kroger.
And I was somewhere else today. Where was I? Oh, one of the schools. I just say one of the schools. Same issue.
They got a nice scoreboard, though.
Ms. Mosley.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Records Retention Center had some issues there. We have some issues there, and we advertised it on the state site, on our website. We received a number of requests. We only had 2 submittals, and those were from HVAC Company of Statesboro, Georgia, and Johnson Control, which is nationwide and has a representative in Savannah. HVAC submitted a bid of a quote of $249,900. Johnson Controls submitted a bid of $312,783. The team of Mr. David O'Hagan, Alex Alvarez, and myself reviewed it, and we're recommending that the RFP for the Record Retention Center be awarded to the HVAC company in the amount of $240,900. Funding for this project has been allocated in SPLOSH number 6.
Need a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Chair, entertain a motion.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion and second, we approve the bid from HVAC and Company for HVAC replacement. Any further discussion? All in favor, show by show of hands, please. All right. Approved, sir.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, we also we're having issues with one of the big units at the Justice Center. And we also sent that one out to bid. We advertised on the state's website and our county website. Again, we received a number of requests. We received 3 proposals from HVAC, Johnson Control, and Mock Mechanical out of Savannah, Georgia. In this request, we recommend that Johnson Control be awarded the RFP in the amount of $309,550. If you turn the paper on the back, you can see the 3 the bids, the prices, and also the receiving days for the different projects.
Okay, and I'm kind of surprised that there's not any elongated time to receive the unit, so.
Yes, sir. This one, because of it was a specialty unit, it's going to have to be put on order. The guys, Alex and David, have been back and forth talking to vendors over the last couple months about, and all of them say it's going to be a lengthy process in trying to get a unit.
Joe,
And not as lengthy as some other times.
Yes, sir. And it's just, and the guys telling us the money is keep going up every month because of parts and costs.
Yeah.
Is that, Joey, that had to be put up with a crane?
It will. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's try to get that where we can do it on a Sunday instead of having the middle of, I mean, do whatever you can, but I just hate for them to have to work on Sunday, but you have traffic over there that's unbelievable on Bagley Avenue and the other one, so.
And courts. Courts will be
It's on that
an
side
issue
too,
too,
ain't it?
yes, sir.
Well,
All right,
sorry,
Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I'm
All
just
right,
trying to.
all right. Chair, entertain a motion.
Yes, sir,
So
Mr.
moved.
Second.
Second, that we approve the bid from Johnson Control, $309,550. That's also SPOS funded, am I right, sir? All right.
ARPA, sir.
ARPA funds, ARPA this one, okay. The other one was SPOS.
All right.
Okay, all right, so SPOS and ARPA come to our rescue. All in favor, show of hands, please. Motion passes, thank you.
Joe like him twice as much, don't he?
Yep,
Yeah, that crane would be about $500 an hour.
The crane.
all righty. Mr. Brown's coming now, but Sam Harris Gymnasium. Want to thank IT, the monitor's working, IT. Well, I think they look down.
I didn't turn mine on. Where you turn it on at? Mine ain't working.
Yours not on?
Uh-uh.
Hey, his is not working.
He said you broke yours.
What am I supposed to, what is it? The
Clint
same,
just did
same
turn
thing
it.
as up there?
Yes.
That's what it is?
Oh, he said it'll be fixed. He just got to.
Mr. Chairman, we, as you're aware, we entertained proposals for the Sam Harris gym funding, and the gym, as you recall, was the last component, really, along with the walking trail, to complete that complex project down there that the board had on their agenda. The money that was allocated in the last Splosh 6 round, part of it was to go to recreation identified projects, and the other was identified for that gymnasium retrofit. Also, one last note, you remember you went, spent money to go ahead and shore up the roof a couple of years ago so that we could get to a point of where you are now. So we had 4 proposers in that game. There were 4 that were very, very close. The base bids range from $2.5 million to $2.9 million, which told us that the plans were pretty good there because they were all very close together. So we've been working on trying to identify the funding for it. First thing, I take you to the top of the sheet that worked on this afternoon a little bit. The proposal amount that's projected here with one additive to the base bid that was proposed, which would be to add the walking trail in. We did that as a possible addendum or possible additive number 1. Brings that proposal amount to 2.576, it's shown there. I did get with the architect on the project, Buckley and Associates, to look at some potential cost-cutting factors that could be achieved, not necessarily in the envelope of the gym, but really on the outside and some extra paving we were going to try to do. And what we're recommending is to take about $110,000 in VE items off of that job. It won't hurt your project outcome. We'll just limit some paving we were actually going to do behind the recycling offices back there a little bit, but again, it really wasn't parking for the gym. So the contract amount proposed for the high score and the low bidder, as a matter of fact, was Pope Construction. When we look at contingency amounts for the project, we add those in, so I'm trying to capture your total project costs that you'll need to fund it, including FF&E remaining and testing that has to go on while the project's occurring, so your total project cost then becomes about 2.76.
FF? What's that abbreviation?
It includes furniture, fixtures,
Okay.
and remaining architectural fees, remaining testing that has to be done by a third-party testing firm. Mainly, that's what it is.
That's good. Thank you, sir.
What's the VE item, George? That's,
The VE item, value engineering,
okay.
yes, sir, that we did on the project to try to bring the cost down a little bit and work with the contractor on that. So the revenue components that were proposed is use of Recreation Splash 6 monies that were designated for the project originally at 1.169. There is some money in Splash 6, Ms. McLaughlin and I looked at, that was allocated to do drainage. As you're wrapping up your sales tax 6 now, we forecast that money is there available. In fact, there's more than that. There's a little over $900,000 that'll be collected in that drainage account that's unobligated. Splash 6 also had a lighting project at the interchange that wrapped up, so it's continued. We've continued to credit monies towards that on the ledger. There'll be about $25,000 there that's available for use. ARPA had a designation in it for the walking trail itself, so we'd bring those ARPA funds over to use those as we add that trail in to get that done. Splash 2, an old splash that was out there, you can tell we've been digging. Actually, to try to close that out, it had $370,000 left in it. And then we've had commitments, as you're aware, from Districts 1, 4, and 7 to take some of the road monies to use towards the project. So that would be the proposed revenue stream that I would give to you tonight with a recommendation to use those revenue streams to award that contract to Pope Construction at their cost of $2.466607. And I'd be ready to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Brown?
Yeah, the walking trail is gonna be in the back where the old field was, the old garden?
No, sir, actually, it's over there. It actually connects in with some of the sidewalk, but if you remember, it's laid out over there. It goes towards the pool, around the playground. It's in where that field is.
Yeah.
How much of the field?
Well, it goes around the field, not the field in the back now.
Yeah.
The side field.
First come in to the left.
Yeah, I just wondered, the field in the back is still ours?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do there?
The plan that y'all looked at was to do some sport play fields, just general fields back there.
In the back.
Altar and
Multi-use
all that
fields
kind of
in the
stuff.
back.
Yeah.
Well, I've slept since then, so we're gonna use that. I mean, we're gonna actually be able to use that?
Future phase.
You can in the future if you want to.
Future phase.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you're thinking right.
Well, I'm just saying you can't include that in this because
Oh, no.
this is mainly brick
no.
and mortar.
No, no. That'd be another phase.
It'd be another phase,
Yeah.
depending on what
Well,
you
you
want.
got the money then, don't you?
Got the
Yes,
money
for
to
this.
do what your gym project
Right.
is, with the parking and, some parking in the back and the parking over there for the gym
And the walking trail.
and the walking trail. That's true, yes, sir. And it is I know this too, it's not an asphalt walking trail, it is a 6-foot concrete, nice walking trail, so we don't have to worry about it tearing up as much and things like that.
Look like we got it.
Chair.
Would there be any drive across it?
Shouldn't be a drive across
Okay.
yet, no, sir.
Shouldn't. All right, Chair, entertain a motion.
Chair, I make a motion that we award the contract for the Sam Harris Gym to Pope Construction.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Motion and second, and we award the contract to Pope. We worked with that company before, haven't Mr. Brown, I think, on several.
Yes, sir, they hadn't been available recently because they've been busy, and so, but they do specialize in doing
Yeah.
renovation type work.
Didn't get work for us, all right. All in favor, show of hands, please. All right, motion passes. Let's go to work. Glad that's coming to pass.
Thank you. Yes, sir. I think you'll be very proud of it.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chairman, before we go any further on that, you through with this one right here, right? I know that we had talked, and I know Commissioner Stevens and I had mentioned it, but that place in the back, that field, whatever it was, I know there was some discussion about it being low, that it may have to be part of it used as a water retention area at one time, but, I mean, what I'd like to see is, I don't know who we can get to, we need to be looking at that for soccer fields. That needs to be the next thing on the agenda. Now, I ain't talked to our new rec director, because he stays gone all the time. You know, I look for him every day, and he's not around the office.
He's out there on the job.
Huh?
He's on the job.
He's on the job.
On the job. I can vouch for that.
But we need to do that, and that needs to have a fence around it.
Okay.
And the fence at Briar Bay,
I could tell
I
you.
looked at that, and that
We're gonna
thing
have
right
to do
there,
something
they making a
to get up
racetrack down there, and at that ball field at Briar Bay. Looked like they're going in there with four-wheelers or something and driving all around it. What's the recommendation?
We have posted signs,
No, they'll take them down. What's the,
and they take them down, so we have to either fence it in
Our camera.
or enforce the county, have the police officer enforce the,
Can't live there, though.
Terrible.
What
about
Mr. Chairman,
cameras,
that's a
Mr.
good
Brown?
job for you to do. I'll write the letter if you'll sign it.
You know,
We're gonna get a policeman for the city of Riceboro in. But really, let's look at that
Definitely will.
field down there, because I know Marion will have that money when it's time to put it down there. And I'll help you with the football field. I still got a big project that's ahead of me. I'm talking about a big one. I got the city of Flemington is, I'm gonna tell you something, it's busting at the seams.
we will ask, you know, we know our LCID director's still getting his feet wet, so we'll give him a little bit of time to have him come present to us. I know they were doing a survey of all the parks and facilities. Let's come and brief us on future direction for that. I know we got some capital things to do. I heard about that.
We sure do. A couple of good notes before I leave, one before I leave the gym, is that in talking with the contractor too, I know there was some desire to try to put a wood floor in to do that, and he's in hopes that inside this scope, he may be able to do that. So, you know, we'll keep our fingers crossed. The other thing before we leave the rec is that we did have some lighting issues down at James Brown Park, and those have been cured. So Georgia Power, working with outdoor lighting at Georgia Power, has been able to come up, and we've got LEDs, and we're going to be meeting. In fact, he doesn't know this yet, just got it before it came in here, but I'm going to be asking him to come to a meeting with me at Liberty Independent Troop to look at the lighting in there, interior to those parks too. Which should be good. So we'll work together.
All right. All right.
Mr. Chair,
sorry.
I know we got in the weeds a little bit, but just a quick question about the gym funding and this particular project. What's the participation with the contractor with the NWB?
13. It was 13. And
13?
it was met. Great question. I meant to mention that.
Thank you.
But yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I appreciate it.
Ms. DeLisa did. We always, she takes the separate envelopes and looks at those, so it was met.
Yep. And you know, that's usually my question, so.
Did we get any contribution from the city of Midway?
This didn't
No,
include
this
any
is-
contribution there.
But their contribution, as I said, Commissioner Walden, is when we approve SPOS and the cities approve our county list of capital improvements, and that's their buy-in.
Okay.
Thanks, sir. All right, sir. Polycarts.
Yes, sir. This is simply, and I prepared a memo there for you. We obviously won't go back through that study and do all that. I think just if I would ask you I think I put a copy of that. You know, the study included challenges on the back. So you had asked us to get together as supervisors and staff to try to take a look at recommendations for you. And so I'll offer one there. And simply because of the state of the union right now and the way things are, we're having enough problems trying to staff what we currently do to try to double that staff and open up something new right now doesn't, I mean, business-wise, we just don't think it's feasible.
That's understandable.
And that's with input from Mr. Wells and Mr. Schott and everybody involved. that runs that operation down there. So my recommendation to you is that I do think that the time could be right to do that. Right now, the market is covered, and I don't think we should, you know, we throw anything away, but right now, it'd be very tough, machinery, people, everything to try to get that up and running.
We'll follow their recommendation.
That's right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for looking at that for us. All right. Announcements?
The only thing is, if we had 5 minutes, I did need to do an update in executive session on that land acquisition matter.
Okay, all right. Mr. Gross, we have 2 minutes that I can give away. If you have 2 minutes worth of presentation, I'm putting you on the spot, but if not, just say hello from where you are.
What we're trying to do as far as we got a few incidences at the parks. One of my recommendations to Mr. Brown and Mr. Mosley was, the acquiring of some cameras, at the main parks. And we don't have many issues out of the outlying parks, but we want to get some cameras and some security systems so we can see what's going on and catch the people who are destroying property that taxpayers pay for. Down at Briar Bay Park, that is mainly the field outside of the baseball field.
At the fence.
It's basically being used as a ATV, UTV event spot. They've come in there several times, we put signs up, they have an ordinance, I do believe that is fined up to $1,500 for people out there on the park. We posted those signs in addition to the signs that we had up there. So we have to get the sheriff's department, the county police, county sheriffs to enforce the law and write the tickets, the citations. Because that's the only thing that's gonna stop it unless you fence it all the way in.
Mr. Chair, a couple of years ago, after a few fatal accidents on ATVs and stuff, I know you and I had a brief conversation about that issue and that concern in our county, and to see what we could do to kind of help that situation. Because, I mean, they're going to ride, especially, you know, with us moving forward to paving every dirt road in Liberty County. I don't know where they will have an opportunity to ride, so we will probably need to work with, you know, with them or, you know, a private landowner or something, so, you know, we could find somewhere where they could ride safely. Because if that doesn't happen and that doesn't occur, it's going to be more, I'm afraid that it could possibly be more accidents. I know a couple of weeks ago, it was one in McIntosh County, the same thing. So as a avid rider or a past avid rider, I understand the itch to ride. You know, I retired, but I understand that they have the itch to ride. So if whatever we could do to make them have a safe area to do so, I'm all for it. So if we can look into that, something, because I mean they're not going to stop.
I want to say something along those lines. When I was on the board my first time, and Commissioner Thrift can probably speak to this, we had, one of the big things was mud boggings. That was one of the big, everybody wanted to do that. Now, of course, you couldn't do it out here on the county parks, but people were going everywhere mud bogging until one accident.
Right.
And the landowner was the one that really paid the ultimate price on it. I mean, the individuals were hurt, but, you know, he let that go, and it wasn't sanctioned, so. And then there was also, when they'd leave, they'd pull on the county road, and there was mud for 2 miles, you know. They didn't have a place to wash them off, so, you know, whatever we do, let's make sure that we're, you know, doing the right thing, and I know we'll try our best to, but, you know, riding down there when a lady's walking with her 2 children and somebody's coming by them at 80 miles an hour on one of them things, all it's got to do is have one tire go flat, and, you know, you've lost 3 and possibly 4 people or whatever, so let's, I would encourage the, you know, let's put the signs up, and we can talk with our sheriff, and he's got the available personnel to put down there. I don't think Riceboro's got a police officer.
No, they don't.
We do.
And, that's actually in the county, ain't it? The
Right. Yes, it is.
park is, so we need to do something about it.
Right.
I'd like to see the citizens take a vested interest in public facilities.
I do too.
That would be great, yeah.
I mean, we left our bathrooms unlocked. Commissioner Giller and I went to it. I mean, we leave them unlocked at these parks. And I can tell you something, I didn't realize there were people living in the bathrooms down at Stafford Park.
Yeah.
And I mean, then they set them on fire.
Broke up the commodes.
We have a homeless issue in Liberty County and City of Hinesville as well, so I get it, but whatever I guess we could get with the Recreation Department, and I guess we just
Discuss it.
find out something.
You can take it back to this board.
Absolutely, yeah. Because even with the police are reactive. You know, I mean, they can only do so much, and 9 times out of 10 it's because of,
And a lot of
You know,
times
They're
they
not
just
gonna do
run
what the
from
police are
them.
there.
Yeah.
absolutely.
They run from them through the woods.
Yeah, policing is just,
Can't
Chair, entertain a motion to go into executive
so
session.
move, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Or land acquisition? Session, the regular session?
I move.
Second? You got it, Joe?
That was,
Gillard and Stevens. All in favor, show of hands. All right, nothing to report. Chair entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
All in favor? We stand adjourned for the evening. Thank you.
Adios.
Good meeting.